do I desire? What will bring me to my highest good? What do I want? What do I desire? What will bring me to my highest good? Prosperity, prosperity, I claim it, I claim it. Abundance, abundance is mine, is mine. Love, love flows through me, flows through me. I feel joy, all the time, all the time. I can have it, I can have it. I deserve it, I deserve it. I claim it, I claim it. It is mine, it is mine. I can have it, I can have it. I deserve it, I deserve it. I am it, I am it. It is mine, it is mine. Peace, peace fills my heart, fills my heart. I surrender, I surrender everything, everything. Health is my birthright, is my birthright. Passion helps me sing, helps me sing. I can have it, I can have it. I deserve it, I deserve it. I claim it, I claim it. It is mine, it is mine. I can have it, I can have it. I deserve it, I deserve it. I am it, I am it. It's my time, it's my time. Break it on down. Anything I want, anything I desire, anything that brings me to my highest good. Anything I want, anything I desire, anything that brings me to my highest good. I release, and let go, I accept, what is mine, I can have, what I want, and let spirit, direct the flow. Life is good, life is fun, life is great, this song is done.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday morning from snowy, cold Colorado. I am here in Aurora, Colorado, and the temperature is a balmy -2, and it keeps dropping the longer the morning goes on, which is a little worrisome. But and I know a lot of others are dealing with the cold as well, so please stay warm. Yes, and happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So I know a lot of us are off for the day. Not everybody, but a lot are. So we'll see if there's more folks coming to these Monday morning socials. And I usually don't do the Monday morning setup because I'm usually at work, but I work for a school district and we're closed today. So I am helping out here with the Monday morning crowd. So my name is Maya. And I have been a facilitator for many years, working and doing all of this Sonder club stuff, and it's so awesome. And I love to see the folks that are off. Maya's off. I think Nicole is here and she's off. So, but if you're not off, then I'm sorry that you have to go to work today. Hopefully it's not too cold. So thank you all for being here. I saw someone saying they didn't have any sound, which of course it's not going to help if I tell them this because they won't hear me. But a lot of times if you hop on and you don't have sound, if you leave and then come back, the sound will be there. So just know that that can happen as well. So we are going to set up our week in our journal. And then just a few little housekeeping tips for you. Make sure you set your chat to everyone. It does have a tendency to default back to the host and panelist. And when it does that, only myself and my fabulous co-host, Jennifer O, who's down in Texas, she is here and she will be keeping an eye on the chat. But if it says host and panelist, we're the only ones who are going to see what you write. So make sure you flip that. And sometimes you have to flip it back and forth because it keeps toggling back, especially if you're on a phone or an iPad. So just one of the frustrating things with Zoom sometimes, right? The other thing is just a few little reminders. We like to make sure that this is a safe and supportive community and a little group. So we just have some community guidelines. So we just ask that you're kind and courteous to both yourself and others. No promotions or spam. We respect everyone's privacy. It's kind of what happens in the Sonder Social stays here in the Sonder Socials. No hate speech or bullying. We limit those repetitive product and accessory questions. It's fine to ask about pins that don't bleed or some stickers that some folks use, but the best place to ask those kinds of questions is in the Sonder Club app, because then people can give you links to different products that they are using with their journal. And speaking of links, sometimes depending on which version of Zoom that you have, the links aren't clickable that are in the chat. So just know that that's a potential issue. So what I always recommend is screenshots, right? So if you're on your computer, you can use like the snipping tool to take a screenshot, or you can just grab your phone, take a picture of whatever's on there, or if you're on your phone, you can do a screenshot there as well. So it's always helpful. And remember, these are recorded. They will be posted on our YouTube channel. Just know that sometimes, especially with the holiday weekend, it can take a few days for them to show up there, but they will show up there. There will not be any chat. It will just be the me and the slides, right, talking. Also, any of those customer care inquiries, those all go to our HQ team at hello@silkandsonder.com. So if you have an address change, or you need to update billing information. I know I had a credit card expire and had a new credit card and forgot to switch over some of those things. So I was getting all those, we can't process your payment kind of emails. So all of those questions go to hello@silkandsonder.com, because Jennifer and I do not have access to your accounts. And then ultimately, these socials are a tool to help elevate your emotional health through the power of community, but you are responsible for your own emotions, well-being, and decisions. So if there's ever anything that we're working on that you're not really in the mood to work on, or you're not really feeling it, it's not really your jam, whatever we're working on, feel free to do whatever you need for this hour. You can just kind of do what you need, right? This is the time that you are taking for yourself. And so this is all totally up to you, right? So this month's theme, like I've been playing the prosperity chant song at the beginning of each of my January socials, because I just love that song. And I actually play this song every morning. It's on my Habities list to do, which we'll go over today, our habits and activities. And every morning I just kind of play that. It's a good little, I can kind of dance around for a couple minutes and sing the song. And it's a nice little reminder of this idea of prosperity, which doesn't just have to be financial. I know sometimes that the first thing that pops into our head when we think of prosperity is financial, right? But it doesn't have to be that way. And that's why I put this little quote in there. Prosperity is a way of living and thinking, and not just money or things. And then I also like the quote from Aristotle: happiness is prosperity combined with virtue. Love that. And then also, when I think of prosperity, sometimes I think of sharing my prosperity, or sharing those prosperous feelings. And so a quote from Martin Luther King Jr. On his day today: life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? So kind of a nice thing to kind of think about as we think about prosperity. Sometimes the prosperity comes from sharing what we have, right? Our time, our knowledge, any of those kinds of things, right? So our agenda for this morning is we're going to do what we call the mind map, prosperity mind map. So if you're new to these weekly socials, we always do a mind map that helps us kind of dig a little bit deeper into the theme. And so if you come to the weekly socials, we do that. It's on a blank page, so it's not something that's actually in the journal. But I also notice a lot of times if folks miss a mind map prompt, they will post in Sonder Club, and someone will share a screenshot of what that is. So that's always a good thing to remember in case you have to miss. And then we will do our Rosebud Thorn weekly reflection that we always do. And then we will work on our weekly setup pages, which are going to be pages 46 and 47. So if you've been with me for a while, you know I always use these two little cartoons from the artist The Latest Kate to remind us of a couple things. First of all, there's room for you here just as you are. You can share the good, you can share the bad, you can share the kind of meh stuff, you can share the exciting things. We love to celebrate with you when things are going well, and we are there to support you when things are going not so well, because that's what life is, right? Life is that series of ups and downs. And then also, the way you feel matters, and no emotion you feel is bad or unworthy. So no one can tell you, oh, you shouldn't be mad about that. Oh, you should be happy with this. Oh, you should be over that by now, right? Like no one can tell us those things. Our feelings are our feelings, and we're here for them. We are here to share in all the feelings with you. So let's start out with our mind map. So we're going to find a blank page in your journal. If you've been doing this all month, you probably already have a space for this. If not, a lot of people like to use maybe like the scratch pad for the week to do the weekly, which is over on page 49 for this week. Again, it can be a sticky note or wherever, just a chance to kind of jot down some thoughts. And so this idea that the word prosperity often conjures images of wealth and material success, which is fine. But true prosperity encompasses a much richer tapestry of human experiences. So these prompts invite you to delve deeper into your own understanding of prosperity each week this month. And this week, our prompt is we are on week 3 of the Prosperity Mind Map. And so this week, we are going to reflect on a time in your life when you felt truly prosperous, even if it wasn't a period of financial abundance, right? What contributed to that feeling of prosperity? And you can see the other 2 weeks there. So if you missed those, I would take a screenshot if you want to do those. You don't have to, right? You don't have to do makeups. No one's going to come check and make sure you did all the weeks of the month, right? So this is week 3. So that's what we're going to focus on today. And then if that question doesn't quite resonate with you, I gave you another one that you can kind of think of. Can you recall a time when you felt incredibly grateful, even though you didn't have much materially? What made you so grateful? So either one of those prompts are something to kind of help you reflect on that time of feeling prosperous. And then I also gave you this idea of the different types of prosperity, right? So you could have emotional prosperity, which are feelings of joy, contentment, peace, and fulfillment. Maybe it's social prosperity, strong relationships, supportive community, meaningful connections. I know we have some folks in Southern California who have been dealing with the fires there, and our hearts go out to them. And they were talking about this idea of social prosperity, that even though tough times have been happening and bad things have been happening, they have found really strong support from their community, strong support from their friends, and that has made them feel truly prosperous in that area. Intellectual prosperity, so maybe it's with learning or pursuing passions, expanding your knowledge. Physical prosperity, good health, vitality, the ability to enjoy physical activities. And then spiritual prosperity, a sense of purpose, connection to something larger than yourself, and inner peace. So I will be quiet. I will play a little bit of music and let you reflect on this idea of a time in your life when you felt truly prosperous. And if you can't think of a time, maybe think of what would be the conditions that would have to be in place for you to feel that way. And again, even if it isn't a period of financial abundance, right? What contributes to that feeling? So I'll be quiet, let you work on that. Feel free to share in the chat, and then we'll check back in and keep moving on. Right. Thank you all for sharing in the chat different times when you had that feeling of prosperity, even if it wasn't a period of financial abundance. I was telling Jen earlier, and I think I talked about it in our Saturday social. When we were younger, there's 5 of us girls. I'm the oldest in our family, and we did not have a lot of money growing up. And at one point, we all had to share a room, all 5 of us, and we had 2 sets of bunk beds. And then the youngest had to sleep with a different one of us every night. She was little. Um, but it wasn't a lot of fun for us to have to share the bed with the little one. But it was a really fun time. I think of like that family prosperity. Like we were very close. My sisters and I still are very close. Um, and so just kind of being together, sharing the room, learning to share, like learning all those things. I just kind of think of the stuff that we did have. And a lot of times, when you're kids, you don't know the difference per se of the, what the have and have nots kind of have. So that was definitely a time I think of with prosperity. So thank you all for sharing in the chat those different feelings, and thank you for engaging in a little bit of digging into the the idea of the theme of the month being prosperity. So now let's look at our rosebud thorn, which is over on page 44. And we always do this at the end of every week because that's very important to feel, to just spend a little bit of time reflecting, right? And kind of thinking about those things that were good, those things that were maybe frustrating, and those things that are coming up, right? Things that we can look forward to. So the thorn is something that's frustrating, maybe something that's a little irritating, something out of your control, something that is just kind of a sticky point of the week. And ours was, I was telling you, I work for a school district, and we had a cyber attack on Monday. Our IT people caught it really quickly and shut everything down, but we have been completely without internet and phones all last week. And so that was stressful for me, but not as much as it was for our teachers and our students, because we have all of our curriculum is pretty much online. We have Google Classroom, so teachers really had to pivot and kind of try to figure out what to do. So we're hoping that it's going to be back tomorrow, but I don't know. But it's definitely one of those things where it was frustrating for folks. It definitely was a thorn, and so we're hoping that things get back to normal tomorrow. And then our bud is something that's an emerging emerging opportunity, something that's fun, something that's exciting, an opportunity that's coming up. It could be small, it could be big. And so for me, of course, the bud was today being a holiday and not having to worry about trying to work from home or trying to work from a location that had internet. Definitely something to look forward to. And then a rose is something that's your highlight for the week, something that was fun, something that made you feel good, something maybe where you felt successful, you completed a task, or something that you're really proud of this week. And so mine was on Friday, after kind of all that stress from the week. I got to have a massage and my acupuncture appointment on Friday. So that was lovely, a lovely time to relax. And then I also added in, this was last night, my little picture of my little kitty. Well, he's not little, but my kitty sleeping on my knitting that I'm working on. Notice how cutely he matches the knitting, but it was very difficult to actually work on this while he was on it, but it still was definitely a rose of the week. And so that's a blanket that I initially started knitting for my nephew and his wife when they got married, but that was almost 3 years ago. And then it was going to be for Christmas, and then it was going to be for, so we'll see. Maybe I'll get it done for their 3rd anniversary in May this year, right? Yes, he is definitely a snuggler. He's definitely a little lovey kitty. So let us know in the chat your rose, your bud, or your thorn, whatever you would like, and then we'll check back in here in just a moment. Thank you all so much for sharing in the chat. You definitely get to see how everyone is having these ups and downs in life in even just the period of a week. So much love going out to folks who have lost someone. Someone's aunt passed away. We have someone who had 3 friends who had passed away, and there's funerals this week. Just definitely tough times. And then we have some folks who are getting to spend time with family, which can sometimes be both the rose and the thorn sometimes, right? Or maybe just having some time to themselves, or being able to maybe go on a new adventure. I saw some folks planning, their buds were planning for some trips that they're taking. So I think it's just so important for us just to take those few moments every week, just to kind of do a little bit of a wrap up of the week. And then the nice thing is when you have these done, when you do the monthly setup and we reflect back on the month, you have a quick way to go in and check like, oh, what did I do this month? And you can go back in and look at those weekly reflections. So again, thank you all for sharing. And we will then jump into our weekly planner, which again is going to be on page 46 and 47. And we will just kind of work on those pages and those sections. The first one is our feeling of the week. So how do you want to feel for this week? Kind of, I always think of it how you want to show up for people, how you want to be, kind of that overarching sense for the week. I use the word flexible because I think we've got to be very flexible with the issues at work, and now folks are going to be stressed. We were supposed to start the state English language acquisition testing last Monday, so now we're a week behind. We did get an extension from the state, but it still is kind of one of those, like, it's not what people had planned for, right? So it's like, so flexible is kind of my word. It can be one word, it could be several words, it could be a phrase or a mantra or just a sticker or a picture. Maybe you write down something you want to focus on, or it's a quote that you like. Any of those kinds of things can go in there. So I'll play just a little bit of music to let you think of that. Feel free to share in the chat what your this week's, how you want to feel this week, and then we'll keep moving on. All right. Thank you for sharing your word. And I know I saw somebody said that they're not so much using the feel to, but they're saying I changed feel to plan. And this week they want to plan a critique schedule. So they have something that they want. So they're kind of using this for planning. I saw determined and focused, productive, relaxed, creative, adventurous, intentional, whimsical. That's a fun one. Courageous, productive. So lots of great words that folks are thinking of as they go forward into this week. And when you think of that, excuse me, when you think of that word and that feeling that you want, really think about this next part of your weekly major 3 goals. How will achieving these goals help you feel that feeling? And I came across this actually just this morning, and I popped it in here because I know a lot of us are really working on saving and some more financial fiscal responsibility in 2025, right? And I was doing some of my financial stuff yesterday and thinking, oh, how did I spend so much money? Um, Right, December can always be a tough month. So I found this, I thought this was kind of fun, the hierarchy of needs, with apologies to Maslow. So this gal has kind of made it the main thing that you want to try to do is to use what you have. Then you could borrow, swap, thrift, make, and then at the top is buy. And so I love that idea of kind of thinking about when you think of buying something or when you think of needing something, really kind of giving yourself a little bit of time to kind of think, what could I do to get this thing, right? And then I also wanted to put this in from the Instagram, our Silk and Sonder Instagram, which always has lots of fun, inspiring thoughts and ideas. So this is things to do more of in 2025. So maybe you want to focus some of your goals around these kinds of things, like spending time with uplifting people, allowing yourself time to rest, spending time in nature, focusing on only one task at a time, those kinds of things. So those are kind of fun to, if you're kind of trying to think of what do I want those three major goals to be. Here's some examples of things that other folks have done. You can see the bingo is always popular, right? We love a good bingo here in Sonder Club. So maybe it's things like the unplug bingo. I like that idea. They were trying to figure out ways to unplug. You could also use that start, stop, and continue from page 8 that you filled out at the beginning of the month. If you did that, to give you some ideas for what you want your goals to be. Maybe you want to look back at those intentions on page 9 if you haven't had a chance to revisit those. Your monthly habit tracker on page 11 to kind of help inform this, and then the to-do section if there's some things that you have forgotten. Some people do work, body, and mind. Some people do like a work and home. Some people will do like a just kind of thinking about what you want those goals to be. And I saw Jennifer popped in a link about finding, if you're still searching for a word of the year, and which sometimes the word of the year is what people put in there, how they want to feel, and they kind of keep that word going. She put in a little link there if you want to take a quiz to find a word of the year. But these are all some great ideas. Again, here's some other things. They have like a me, home, and work, a left brain, right brain, and no brain. Again, mind, body, spirit. So just different ways to do this. If you're not a goal setting kind of person, like that just doesn't fire you up, you could repurpose this by maybe 3 new vocabulary words, especially if you're working on learning another language. Maybe you have some 3 words that you want to focus on. Maybe it's movies or TV shows that you want to watch. It's a playlist, right, with some songs on there, or maybe it's just 3 fun activities for yourself for this week. So think about that. Feel free to share in the chat, and then we will keep moving on. Oh, right. So thank you for sharing in the chat some of your goals that you have for the week or different ways that you're kind of thinking of how you want to use this little section. And again, I also like to point out, you don't have to fill in every section every week. Some weeks just have a lot of other things going on, and it's just like maybe you just want to fill out the to-dos, or maybe you just want to fill out the habits and activities, right? And that's absolutely fine. Again, like we say, there's no journal police. We're not going to come over and say, oh, you didn't fill out all your boxes, you get a demerit, right? Like that's not the way it works. It really is for you to kind of figure out what works for you for the week. And the great thing is there'll be a new week coming right along that you can see, did some of those things work and you want to transfer them over? Do you want to try something new? Always fun to kind of see what works for you for the week. So if we look over, I'm going to do these next two sections together because I think sometimes they tend to, it's like feed each other or something. You're not quite sure which section to put in. So the first section is those to-dos, right? And I think it's important to remember that it's often the small steps, not the giant leaps, that bring about the most lasting change. So really thinking about when you look at those major three goals, think about what are all the little tasks or what are all the little to-dos or the little things that you want to put in there to make sure that you're able to do. So different ways you can approach this. Some people like to do what's called an Eisenhower matrix, which is that picture over there on the right, where you kind of look at the things that you have to do and kind of put them into a category, either to do them, to decide if there's a different deadline or like how to do those things, to delegate. Is there someone you can delegate those activities to, even if it's something like cooking dinner is just like a takeout meal, or getting some of those boxed. Sometimes we get the box where you still have to cook them, but the meal is all like all the stuff is there. Sometimes that's a good way to kind of help with the what are we having for dinner question that I never really thought I would have to deal with so much as an adult. What are we having for dinner? Or then there's also the delete, or sometimes people call it delay or drop, or those kind of so those things that maybe you don't need to do, or things that can kind of be delayed for a little bit or pushed off until later. And I know Jennifer popped in a link about more information on how to use the Eisenhower matrix, and you can see kind of a little example of someone doing that over to the left. Maybe it is a to-do list, but you want to break it up by like self, home, and work. Those can be helpful. An AM and a PM, right? So things you want to do in the morning versus things you want to do in the afternoon. Some people do like a start of the week, end of the week. And one thing that's really helpful for me to tackle my to-dos is the Pomodoro technique. If you haven't heard of that, it's a really good method to really get you to focus. So what you do is you take your task, you set a 25-minute timer, work on that task, only work on that task. You tell yourself no email checking, no scrolling, no any of those kinds of things, right? I'm just going to focus on this task for 25 minutes. You work on that task till the time's up, you get a little alarm, you take a 5-minute break, and then you come back. And for every 4 of those you do, you can take a longer 15 to 30-minute break. And it's really good for me to be like, okay, I just have to focus on this for 25 minutes, and then I can do some other things. And it really is good to kind of tackle some of those things that aren't super fun. Here's some other examples of things that people have. They have like a work and a home list, a to-do and a ta-da, right? So sometimes that ta-da, the idea of like, ta-da, it's done, and I can write it down. Again, AM, PM, school and personal, work and home, a need and a want list, right? Kind of thinking of those things. And then repurposing it. Maybe it's a to-don't list, things you don't want to do. No drive, not going through the drive-through, or not biting your nails, or I don't know, something like that. Or some people like to do a to-be list. So instead of things I have to do, it's ways I want to be kind and be calm. A bingo, again, the space works for a nice little bingo board. And some people put like the boring task bingo board right in the to-dos so that they can get those things like laundry or dusting or, whatever. Maybe it's a self-care ideas. And this little graphic gives you things you can do for 60 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and 10 minutes to give yourself some time. And so if it's something that you want to do throughout the week, maybe it's not a one and done kind of to do. So you can go down to those habits and activities. So I call them the habities, right? I said that when I was talking too fast one time. Um, but the idea is here's some things that maybe I want to do maybe 3 times or 4 times this week. And things like unsubscribing to emails. This is a really good tip if you're trying to save money, getting those emails that tempt you with sales and new products and that kinds of things, unsubscribing to those can be a huge help. So if you just spend 10 minutes daily, or you tell yourself you're going to unsubscribe to 3 newsletters or whatever each day, um, maybe it's reading, maybe it's the finishing a book. And notice that one person over here on the bottom, they just said, nope, like they were going to be out of town and they were just like, I'm not doing this part. I'm not going to fill this out. Right. And some people will ask, how is this different from the monthly habit tracker, that wheel that we have? So these are really things that you are specific to the week. Maybe things you just want to do a couple times during the week, not necessarily every day, where that monthly habit tracker is more for the things you want to do every single day. But again, you use this how you need to do it. Sometimes I will write, excuse me, check on my, like, review my intentions, right, to remind me to go back, or make sure that I fill out my monthly habit tracker or my mood tracker, right, so to kind of remind me to go back and look at that. Here's some other examples of things that folks have used, like unplugging. Notice you don't have to fill in every line, right? You could focus on just one thing or maybe just a couple things. You again go back to those intentions, monthly habit tracker, to kind of see if there's some things that you want to put on here. And then sometimes people just fill it in with stickers, right? It's a lovely place to do some stickers. I also put in, if you were able to attend with us, the exclusive event that was last week about your personality type, the Myers-Briggs type assessment. Here are some things that you might want to do, a self-care habit for your Myers-Briggs type. Mine, I am an ENFP. So mine said create a vision board, which worked out really well because I did the vision board activity. I led that social last Thursday, and I think Jen put in the link. I think the recording is probably up now. So if you missed that, you can always watch that. And the vision board is in our January journal. So maybe some other fun things that you want to work on. So again, I'll be quiet. I'll let you work on those 2 sections there on page 46, and then we'll just keep going. All right. So thank you all for sharing in the chat. I saw a lot of people kind of they liked the idea of the for your Myers-Briggs type that was from the exclusive event. And by the way, if you did sign up for that, but you weren't able to attend, you should have gotten an email with a link so you can see that it is an exclusive. So it's not available to everyone, but I think you can still purchase, I think, if you want to watch the recording. Also, I believe if you have the coaching app, that should show up in your library. I'm not sure if it's there yet or not, but it probably will be at some point because they've been putting the exclusive events in there, the recordings. So keep an eye out for that. If you have any questions on that, hello@silkandsonder.com, and they can kind of help you with those things. The journaling prompt when we worked on the vision board, which was on page 19, those you can, those are available for our journal folks. So those are on the YouTube channel that Jennifer will share with you as well. So again, thank you for sharing what you were kind of going, what you're thinking of putting in those to-dos and those habits and activities. Always very helpful to have that. So we're going to flip over to page 47, and this is what one of our facilitators, Katie, lovingly calls the B side, right? So it's kind of like that. Sometimes you like to listen to the B side, sometimes you need it, sometimes you don't, and you only focus on that A side, right, on that page 46. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over each of these sections, the meal plan, the mind, body, health, the shopping list, I am loving, so that we can kind of, so you can kind of get an idea of what some people have done, and then you get to decide how you want to use each one of these little sections, right? The first one is the meal plan. And I think this is probably one of our most repurposed sections, just because a lot of people are, if they track their food, they're tracking it in like an online app, or if they're planning their food, they have some other way to do that. So this is when I know that folks repurpose. Obviously, you can use it to plan your meals. You can use it to track your meals, but you could also use it for the one good thing for each day. Maybe you use it for a quote. Maybe you use it for the daily affirmation. Maybe you use it as a to-do list for each day. I sometimes will use it to just plan my dinners because, again, that whole what are we having for dinner kind of thing. You could also use it as a packing list. Excuse me. So sometimes if you're traveling, I have found that that really helps me to do like, what am I going to wear each day so that I can pack so that I don't overpack. A self-care planner, weekly favorite. So lots of different fun things to do with that. Then the mind, body, health plan section, the idea behind it is just to plan something for your mind and or your body each day. So you can take it as that. Some people have, they kind of have the feelings that they have for the day or for each of those days and their needs. I like the unplug for 1 hour, and then they have the specific things that they're going to do to help themselves unplug. A highlight of the day, maybe it's just a quote or a reminder. The one with the puzzle pieces are super cute. They say, I thrive when all the pieces come together. Excuse me. We have a fun a little alliteration here for Motivation Monday, Talk It Out Tuesday, Walking Wednesday, Thoughtful Thursday, Frustration Free Friday, Sassy Saturday, Self Care Sunday, Silk and Sonder journal setup, right? So kind of fun ideas for different things that how they can kind of approach each one of those days. The shopping list, again, obviously can just be used as shopping. I love the person who did the cute little flowers for their shopping list, right? They have the things they need to buy, but they made it super pretty. Love that. I love the little letter to themselves, beautiful girl, right? They wrote themselves a little motivational note to self. So that's kind of a fun place to put that. We have someone who does like a tarot card pull for the week or an oracle card pull for the week and just kind of writes down thoughts about that. It could, again, be a quote that you use, maybe a Bible verse that you want to focus on this week, anything along those lines to kind of keep track of. Here's some other examples. Again, a bingo, right? We love our bingos. Some self-care things that they want to remember, some daily rituals. I've seen some people use it as a ways I need to contact, people I need to contact, right? So like, you know, who I want to call each day, or how they contacted them if they sent them a text or a call or email, those kinds of things. And lots of little things you could do. Cleaning chart, drawings or doodles, stickers. You could leave it blank, kind of whatever. And then that I am loving box really is just kind of for anything that you're enjoying that week, something that you're loving, something you want to remind yourself of. You can see some examples of things that folks have done. And then I also put in this, maybe you're thinking of ways to shift, like do a little mindset shift. So from saying, instead of saying, I'm not good at this, you're saying, I'm not good at this yet. I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll start right now, no matter how small it is. I can do it on my own versus I'm going to asking for help shows strength. I can't handle failure to I can't win without failing. I stick to what I know, change that to trying new things, expands my growth. So lots of different ways that you can work on these little sections. Oh, I did also want to mention, if you haven't done page 39 yet, a lot of times people will ask, what do you do with this currently page? So what I do is I always set a reminder on my calendar for the 15th of the month to remind myself to do the currently. And it's kind of a nice little check-in of these things that I'm loving, feeling, enjoying, anticipating, wishing, reading, watching, planning, just kind of a fun little place. I saw someone else said that they use this actually all month long, since there's 3 lines for each one. The first line is at the beginning of the month for these things. The middle line is mid-month, and then the end line is for the end of the month. So kind of a quick little check-in for each of these that they do 3 times during the month. So some kind of fun ways to do that. So again, I will cycle through all of these. Please feel free to let us know what your how you're working on these, what you're doing with these little sections, and I'll play just a quick little bit of music and then we'll check back in and wrap things up. All right. Thank you all for sharing in the chat what you're doing with these sections on page 47. Again, if none of them strike your fancy or anything you want, maybe they don't right now, right? But maybe on Tuesday or Wednesday, you'll be like, oh, shoot, I need to track whatever, or I want to make a list of something else, or I read a really good quote in my book or something to kind of keep track of. So again, fabulous ways to use or not use, because this is your journal. You do what you need for the week. So thank you all so much for joining. It is always the fastest hour, I'm telling you. And it's so good that you've carved out a little bit of time to spend with us chatting. Please share your pictures in the app. That's where we got all these examples, right? So we love to use the examples from our Sonder fam. Always so fun. And I forgot I was going to put in, and I forgot to do it. But if you look in the Sonder app, I think on Saturday, Brenda posted, she's doing this fun Save-opoly. So she made this cute little Monopoly board in her journal. And so then every week she rolls the dice and it tells her like to save a certain amount of money. And this week she got jail, no spending. So it's like a no spending week. So it's kind of a fun way to do it. But it's so, you guys are all so creative, so fun. It's always so great to see what you have. And then remember, we are still doing the deal with the 24/7 personalized life coach. I know a lot of folks are using that and loving it. They're still doing I think you can get 50% off 3 months subscription. So a lot of people are really enjoying that. It really is kind of fun to be able to get those really personalized prompts and be able to chat with the coach. Jenny is her name. And you can always kind of check that out. So kind of fun to do. So Jen dropped a link in there. She'll also drop links for the YouTube channel. Make sure that you sign up for any of those events coming up. I don't think we have February's posted yet, but we do have quite a few left here in January. Lots of different ways to come and be with us. Again, like I said, in the app is always good. And thank you all so much for being here. It's so good to spend just a little bit of time with all of you. So thank you all so much. And hopefully you should all feel like you're good to go. So take care, everyone.
5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8.